Hello again, YouTube. This is the Truth Blaster. Blast you with the truth. Change the name to the channel to the Truth Channel. Now, in this broadcast, I want to entitle this 5 things or people that will lead, that will contribute to death before the time. Now, I want you to see this. Definition of a toxic relationship. It says Lillian Glass, a California-based communication and psychology expert, who says she coined the term in her 1995 book, Toxic People, defines a toxic relationship as any relationship between people who don't support each other, where there's conflict and one seeks to undermine the other, where there's competition, basically. Now, let me go back a little bit. Definition of a toxic person is anyone whose behavior adds negativity and upset to your life. Now, there are some toxic people that I didn't add into this, such as thieves, bums, losers. For those of you who don't know, my 2020 Kia Soul was stolen and they damaged the other car, so I had to basically rent a car for probably like 2 months. Those were not listed because the title is 5 things or people that will contribute to death before the time. They're not going to contribute to death before the time if you're not forced to deal with them consistently. So they weren't added. Again, toxic relationship is a relationship. Just trying to go back to it. Any relationship between people who don't support each other, where there's conflict and one seeks to undermine the other. That's at work when you present your views and you're looked upon as part of the problem when you're actually part of the solution. Where your coworkers, your coworkers really should pattern their work habits around you. But yet, those who are in charge of what's done, they don't look at you with that type of favor. So what happens? If the people that they look at with that type of favor are not good at the job, then it's going to be high turnover. It's going to be turmoil. The job is not going to be done properly. So the environment will become toxic. So number 1, 5 things that people that will contribute to death before the time. A wife who negatively changes, or bad wife. Unsupportive. Here's some of the characteristics. Unsupportive, non-sexual, argumentative, naggy. Remember, who don't support each other, where there's conflict and one seeks to undermine the other. Number 2, a bad job. Now, I just talked about that a little bit. A bad job is a job where you're constantly under unconstructive criticism, where favoritism is shown towards others, where evil behavior / evil people are accepted and pedestalized to the point of entitlement. A job where you are not economically prospering over time. It doesn't pay enough to change or cause the accumulation of goods, property, etc. And you know these things inside. See, once it gets inside, it's toxic. It's toxic. And people will be like, man, that job is a good paying job. You need to quit that, keep that job. But the job is toxic. So what's going to happen? If you retire from that job, you probably won't last too much longer. A job that does not respect your creative genius, where your coworkers gaslight you all while stabbing you in the back. Number 3, loser children. What do I mean by this? Children that are in and out of jail, that are getting you into conflicts, that are costing you money because they won't do right. Drug addicts, robbers, car thieves. You keep advocating for these long enough, it's going to take years off of your life. Slutty daughters, baby after baby. You want to go fishing, and here she come with these kids that she really didn't have to make. But because she wasn't listening to you, if you were raising her right, now she has all these kids and she wants you and needs you to watch her. They'll take years off of your life. Number 4, negative and competitive relatives. Who am I talking about? I'm talking about them ones that read your Facebook posts, but they don't like them. I'm talking about them ones that say things about you that if you knew they said it, y'all would get into it. I'm talking about them ones that, remember, toxic relationship. It's not just in marriage, boyfriend, girlfriend. This talking about sisters, in-laws, everything, who don't support each other, where there's conflict, and one seeks to undermine the other. A toxic relationship. They competing with you. They want to be viewed as more successful than you. They want you to support their business endeavors, but they ain't going to support yours. See? They'll go into business with everyone but you. If you deal with these on a regular, they're going to take years off of your life. These are ones that you try to go around on Christmas, Thanksgiving, and they're talking about your gray hair, they're talking about your stomach, they're talking about your kids. Toxic. And number 5, a negative environment. Listen. Don't never think that because your relatives live somewhere or because you have a job that might be kind of decent paying, that if your environment is negative, that you should stay in that environment. What do I consider a negative environment? I consider a negative environment an environment where those who do sinful acts, who are going to cost you negative money, are in close proximity. I did a business run yesterday, and I noticed that it was a lot of people in there. But for all those people that were in there, they were getting along. That's because that wasn't a negative environment. Let's wrap this up. To me, a negative environment is an environment with weather that I don't prefer. What don't I prefer? Extreme cold, too much rain. I like heat. The people where you can't even make basic runs, like to get some gas or to get some groceries, without coming into contact with these angry, argumentative, looking for quick fix, schemy people. Now, you're going to have these types anywhere you go, but it's the close proximity that you have to look at that makes it a negative environment. Go on Spot Crime. If you're seeing burglaries, armed robberies, deaths, shootings in close proximity, it's because you're in a negative environment. You need to move. Well, these are the 5 things or people